My name is John Cruickshank of the Sierra Club. I'll be your host today. All Things Green examines local environmental issues. It is brought to you by the People's Alliance for Clean Energy, a group that advocates for clean and safe alternatives to coal and nuclear power. PACE was formed about 6 years ago to educate the public about the drawbacks of building a third nuclear reactor at the North Anna Power Station. Today's program, however, will examine a controversial transportation issue, the Atgrade Parkway. This is the road that VDOT, the Virginia Department of Transportation, would like to build through historic McIntire Park. It was first proposed in 1959, and for the past 40 years, a determined group of preservationists have resisted the road building through the park. Today we will discuss current efforts to save McIntire Park. Our guests are members of the Coalition to Preserve McIntire Park, Bob Fenwick and Straton Salitas. Why is it important, Bob, to protect McIntire Park?
Well, John, in the middle of Charlottesville City, we have a beautiful open-air park. That park has been a fixture in our city for 70 to 80 years, and so many groups use it. Churches use it not only on Sundays, but during the week for their church activities. There are 3 beautiful permanent picnic shelters that are used and have been used over the years. Businesses use it. They also use the facilities in the park for softball tournaments. Little League is there. A golf course is there that has been designed by the same man who designed Farmington Golf Course. So it is a beautiful oasis right in the middle of our community. Now, we advertise ourselves as a city, we advertise ourselves as a beautiful city in the world, a world-class city. New York City has a similar large urban park right in the middle of its development. And that is probably the most heavily developed real estate in the world, probably. And they have somehow managed to maintain their park. They call it Central Park. I like to think of McIntire as our Central Park. Not only does it have the open air environmental qualities about it, but also it is very useful for the families and, like I said, the businesses and the churches.
Great. Stratton, can you think of other ways that this road will hurt Charlottesville?
Well, there's the construction of it through the park, and that, of course, would cause all kinds of negative impacts to the park. And then as once it's finished, if it's completed, of course, whereas before you had a park that was quiet with very little traffic nearby, there's 250 of course, and also safe, now you've got a lot more noise and air pollution and danger as well. The parkway in the park would not have a guardrail, and it would actually, a lot of its length, be up on a hill. And you've got kids in that park, there's a nearby school. So I wanted to mention all that. But beyond the impacts to the park itself, this road would connect a shortcut right through the center of town. McIntire Road, which would be an extension of this parkway, turns into 5th Street, and as I mentioned, that goes right through the center of town. And also this road would facilitate traffic between 29 North and Pantops, sucking traffic again right through Charlottesville using 250. So there's the extra traffic within Charlottesville that would be caused on day one from those shortcuts, but then also this road would facilitate more sprawl growth in the whole area. And we know that that causes air pollution, water pollution. It makes it so someone needs to get in their car in order to have a life, as opposed to what would happen if we were to invest that money in walking, biking, and transit.
Great, thank you. In November, there was a public hearing on the McIntire Park and the interchange that is going to be built at McIntire Road and Route 250. And a member of the Southern Environmental Law Center staff commented, and he said that we at the Southern Environmental Law Center have concluded that the environmental assessment and the Section 4F statement is inadequate and does not justify the finding of no significant impact. This project would transform the southeastern portion of McIntire Park, destroy over 300 feet of existing stream, destroy 4.1 forested acres, home to a wide variety of birds and wildlife, and destroy 1.1 acres of the Rock Hill Gardens. What is wrong with the process being followed by the Virginia Department of Transportation and the Federal Highway Administration?
Straton, do you want to?
Well, there's one key falsehood underlying several of the processes that need to happen before this road, if this road is built. And the key falsehood is that Charlottesville agreed to a parkway without an interchange. And another way to say that is that Charlottesville agreed to an at-grade parkway. When we talk about grade, there's at-grade, which means level, if you will, which means that the one road would go right into 250 without one going under and one over, which would be called a grade-separated intersection or grade-separated interchange. So Charlottesville did not agree to build a at-grade Meadow Creek Parkway, and for good reason, because the study showed that if they did that on opening day, immediately the traffic congestion on 250 would almost double. And yet the rules, the federal rules, are written as such to say if you need federal money to finish your state project, and the interchange is federally funded, whereas the parkway itself is state funded, if you need that federal money to finish your state project, you're supposed to meet the environmental standards on the entire project. And VDOT is trying not to meet those higher environmental standards on the state part of that road. So that's one thing, is that this falsehood that Charlottesville approved the at-grade parkway provides them with a claim that well, since the parkway was going to be built anyway, we shouldn't have to apply these federal standards to the state road.
One of the questions that I've always had about this has to do with Section 4F of the 1966 Department of Transportation Act. This was an environmental regulation that was put into that law that was passed by the federal government. And in that it says that federal money should not be used for building roads through public parks unless there are no other alternatives. Now, certainly there are other alternatives to this project, including not building a road at all, which a lot of people argue that the road is not necessary. I have always wondered how it is that the Federal Highway Administration can build at one of the sections of the interchange 775 feet into McIntire Park. Isn't this a violation of that law?